This is my review on Buffalo, New York. I lived in Buffalo while I was in graduate school. My grandfather on my mother's side also lived there, and, he lived in Rochester for a while, but then when he divorced my grandmother, he moved there, and he's been there for a while. I don't know how long, but he still lives there, I believe. And I actually ended up moving right next door to him when I was in graduate school, and I did not even realize that that was the case when I decided on the apartment to go into. But that was kind of interesting. I got to see him a couple times while I was living there. I lived there with a college roommate of mine that I had senior year of college. I was there for I was there for 3 years, I think, 3.5 years. I attended SUNY Buffalo for graduate school in sociology. I was a sociology slash anthropology and psychology double major in college. Had better grades in sociology. It was a bit easier than psychology. So I decided I should go into sociology as I was better at it. I do like sociology. I don't have anything against it. I just quit grad school as I thought I could do something a little bit more purposeful than that. I've been job jumping around since then, trying to find my place since then. Um, I think I quit that back when I was 25. I'm almost 35 now. So, yeah, 10 years of job jumping. If you get a sociology degree, you're either going to be a professor or you're going to be in my situation. But there's other things you can do with it too. You can do data analysis and other things with it too, like social work and things like that. But I kind of want to move more into the data analysis myself. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent again. Back to Buffalo. So yeah, I lived there. Lived on Maple Ave for a couple years. I think it was a year and a half with my roommate from my senior year, and then he moved out. And then I had a roommate who was a friend of my sister's for a bit, and then he moved out. And so then I couldn't afford the apartment anymore. Or at least I maybe I could have, although I spent a lot of money back then on cannabis. So I don't know, maybe I could have afforded it. But I just moved to the center of the city. The first apartment I had in Buffalo was more in the suburbs on Maple Road, in a larger apartment that was a bit nicer. I ended up moving into an apartment that was not so nice. That was in the basement of some building in the city. So the actual apartment wasn't was about half the size, maybe even a third of the size of the apartment I had originally. It was fairly dirty, but it was in the center of the city, so it wasn't very far from the center of Buffalo where all the bars were and festivals took place. So that was one plus of it. Got to see a lot of the historical sites in Buffalo, including the Erie Canal, which had a lot of history behind it, including people who had fights on the Erie Canal, the workers on it, the men who were working on the canal. Um, Talks about Ellicott and Olmsted on one of the signage um, near the city. How Olmsted designed. He's a famous architect, and I think he actually designed parts of my college too, Denison University. But he designed something called a radial street design, where the street branches out in radians, which are kind of like this, like a fingers, all sort of like there's a circle in the center, and then radians which branch out from that, like that. I'm not very good at visualizing that for you, but or showing that to you. But anyway, it was close to the city, so I got to see Erie Canal. Got to go to a lot of the festivals they held, music fests they held in the city. There's a lot of good bars there. Pink Flamingo is probably the most famous, but there's a bunch of other bars on Main Street that I frequented quite a bit on the weekend. Um, But yeah, Buffalo. I didn't live there a super long time, but a fair amount of time, and it's a good city. It's about the same size as Rochester. I think it's slightly bigger in terms of population, around 2,500 though, maybe 2,600 or so. Home to General Mills, which is famous for their cereal. Honey Nut Cheerios is one of their brands. Um, Home to Albright Knox, which is a really nice art gallery, as well as the Birchfield Penny Art Gallery, um, which is also very nice. Has some really interesting art there. Some surreal stuff, some realist stuff, a good mix of all sorts of styles in both galleries. Home to Mark Twain for a while. Mark Twain lived in Buffalo for a while. Millard Fillmore lived there for a while. I think he was actually the head of Buffalo University for a while. Home of Buffalo Town Ballroom, where I saw Tim and Eric, um, their Crimbus Spectacular there, where they held a live show of that. That's where I met my first, um, well, not my first girlfriend. I had flings before her, quite a few, but um, my first real like long-term relationship with a female. She was from Australia. I had a long-term relationship with her. It was long distance for about a year. I did visit her in Australia over the summer. She visited me in Buffalo, and I mentioned this in another video, but she didn't spend too much time in Buffalo with me. I did show her some of Buffalo, but I ended up breaking up with her. As I said it before, I enjoyed cannabis more than and being single. So, but she's good now. She has a husband and a son, so I keep in touch with her, and she's doing well. So everything's good now. I'm still single, but I'm kind of happy for now with that. Anyway, I keep going on tangents. Buffalo again. Yeah, Town Ballroom. The Tim and Eric show was really good there. So Town Ballroom also had of Montreal there, who I saw. Blue Lagoon, which is another band, not quite as big, who I'm not really into anymore, but they have a really big public library in the city also, which I frequented to get books and DVDs and CDs. Not so much books because I was reading a lot in grad school and doing a lot of that reading for them, the University of Buffalo Sociology Department. But it was a very nice city. Main Street was really cool, kind of a hip kind of vibe. Similar to Rochester, a bit more. I don't know if busy is the right word. I guess I'll use busy for that to describe Buffalo. A bit busier, a bit more going on in my mind from experiencing Buffalo. Although that could just be because I was in grad school and I was busy, so I don't really know. I mean, both cities are about the same in terms of size and um, economics, I think. So at least that's what I from what I viewed. But anyway, yeah, Town Ballroom is really great. It's a great performance venue. I saw Caius lives there also with my girlfriend who liked them. I'm not really into them that much, but yeah. So Birchfield Penny, Albright Knox are the art galleries. They have the Erie Canal history there, Ellicott and Olmsted history, public library. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, the Main Street Bars, Pink Flamingo. There was a good vegan restaurant there, Amy's Place, and then another good restaurant there while I was vegetarian at the time. I'm an omnivore now, but they had good vegetarian and vegan food at Amy's Place, which is like a diner, and then another place which sold like hot dogs and hamburgers in a vegetarian style also near the Pink Flamingo on that strip where all the bars were. But yeah, it was a cool kind of vibe. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of music in all of the bars that I went to. Not in every bar. Some of the classier bars didn't have live music, but some of them did. Some of the more middle class bars had live music pretty much every weekend. So yeah, I really like Buffalo. It's not my hometown, but I did go to grad school there at not the State College of Buffalo, but SUNY Buffalo, State University of Buffalo, New York. There's two different schools there. I was on the North Campus there. Um, yeah, really cool city, very hip. Had an independent movie theater, which I went to, saw a cool movie about a zoo there. They gave me I think a free Pabst Blue Ribbon too that I drank while I was watching that movie. So it's kind of a hipster kind of town, but a cool place. Um, Again, a lot of snow, like in Rochester. It's only about an hour drive from Rochester, hour and a half at most. So, but yeah, it had a really cool vibe. I'll point at this statue here. I remember that is in the center of the city, seeing that there. Really liked just walking in the city. They had Rochester has good public transport too, and I will write about that in my comments on my Rochester review. It has the RTS station, which has buses. It doesn't have a tram like this here, which I hope you can see. I'm gonna try to point at it if I can. I don't know if you can see it, but they do have a tram station which goes through Buffalo, and this should go down a bit here. Oh, sorry, that went too fast. But yeah, they do have the Niagara Casino, which I've also been to. That was after grad school, but I did go there. Didn't really gamble very much. I just played blackjack and what else did I play anything else? I think I played a couple other games there too. I didn't really spend very much money. I'm not much of a gambler, but that's a really cool place too. The casino, Niagara Falls Casino. Niagara Falls is also in Buffalo on the American side. Um, so yeah, Buffalo, New York's really cool. It's a very hip place. Buffalo Car Share. I don't think they exist anymore. But that's who I did my master's thesis on when I was there. It's a car sharing organization, or was a car sharing organization, where they provided cars for people who didn't have them in the city. It was basically like a rental service, but what they did was they spread the cars out throughout the city. So people who didn't have a car could just call Buffalo Car Share. Buffalo Car Share would tell them, okay, we have a car for you nearby your home. Walk to this location or bike, whatever. And they had bike sharing stations too in Buffalo also. But anyway, Buffalo Car Share would tell the person in need of a car, walk a mile or two down this street, you'll find your car parked here. Um, they had some way of activating the key. You just had to call the organization, and then they would activate the key to open the car somehow, and then that person could use the car for however long they needed it to get groceries and whatever else they needed it for. Um, so yeah, it's a really cool city. I'm trying to think of what else is there. I think that's about it. So really cool city. I enjoyed my time there. Had a really good vibe, a lot of activity going on. Um, yeah, really enjoyed it. And if you ever get a chance to visit Buffalo, I definitely recommend it and visit the places that I just reviewed or told you all about, whoever's watching. So that's about it. Um, Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. And for watching too. Thank you for watching.